Hi, my name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm a Cavoodle puppy coach and breeder for Noodle Way and River City Puppies. As a coach, my philosophy is simple. A Cavoodle should always complement your lifestyle, not complicate it. And this is the foundation to everything I teach. For almost the past decade, I have been working in the breeding, training, grooming, and veterinary sectors of the small animal industry. I've also been raising Cavoodles for the past 16 years, so I have definitely learned a thing or two about the breed along the way. Now this podcast is all about Cavoodles. Raising Cavoodles, training Cavoodles, grooming Cavoodles, breeding Cavoodles, and how to shape the behavior of a Cavoodle puppy. So if you're a Cavoodle parent or you are looking at adding a Cavoodle to your family soon, then this podcast is for you. New episodes will be released each Tuesday morning, and you can follow me across all social media under the name @OodleWay for more tips and advice on Cavoodles. Thanks for tuning in. Hello and welcome back to episode 19 of the Cavoodle Coach podcast Rebooted. My name is Tiana Karamayas and I'm your host. As you've seen by the title, today I want to talk about how much it costs per month to have a Cavoodle. And the reason why this topic is on my mind is because I'm adding another puppy to my family. And this is the first time I'm actually raising a puppy with my partner Xander. And we were discussing with each other how much it's going to cost us both to have this new puppy. And it was very interesting, explaining it all to him, and it made me realize just how many costs are involved. So let's go through it. Now, I want to preface this video by saying, obviously, there is going to be lower options out there, lower price options out there, and higher price options out there, depending on who you choose to go with, what brands you go with, all of that. It can change, but I'm just going to let you know what it costs for me to have a Cavoodle at a bare minimum, and the reason why I I choose more so the products that I do. The other thing I'm going to say is I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of having an adult Cavoodle. When you have a puppy, there are a lot more costs involved up front. So I'm not going to include things like how much a collar costs and a bed costs, because those are the things you buy when they're young and you don't buy every single month. I'm just talking about the monthly cost, the reoccurring cost that you're going to have with your Cavoodle. So let's get started. The first one that I've got down here is food. Obviously essential. You can't not feed your dog. So again, depending on whatever diet you choose, it's going to change the cost. Now, for my Cavoodles, their whole life, and I've had Cavoodles for 16 years, I have always fed them a high quality biscuit, and then I've always added a topper on top of the biscuits to add flavor. Now, those toppers could be some tuna, could be yogurt, could be usually this vegetable meat mixture that I make. So chicken mince and frozen veggies in this like mixture, and I spoon it on top. So when you add that to the cost of the biscuits, and again, I use high quality kibble, it's usually Royal Canin or Hill Science diet. It comes out to be about $8 per week per dog. And then I've actually just moved my dogs, or I'm trialing them on a cooked diet, a fully cooked diet. The reason being they are so fussy, and I was throwing out half their biscuits every meal. So I'm moving them onto a cooked food diet, which so far they are loving, but it is more expensive. And that has come out to be, depending on what protein you use, so obviously chicken is cheaper than salmon, between about $9 to $15 per week per dog. So what I would say is let's just average it out and estimate it. I would say we're looking at about $40 per month to feed your Cavoodle. Now, moving on, we're going on to insurance. Now, insurance, again, is one of those things that can vary a lot in pricing, especially depending on what excess you choose. So when you are getting an insurance, you can choose a $0 excess, or you can choose a $50 excess, $100 excess, $200 excess. The higher the excess, the lower your monthly cost in insurance. But as a Cavoodle coach, I always recommend a $0 excess, and that's because if you chose a $200 excess, you have to pay the consult fee, which is $100, then your $200 excess, and then you get to start claiming, which essentially means you have to spend at least $300 in a consult before you get to claim anything. And if you're going to the vet because your dog has an eye infection or an ear infection, or they've, hurt their nail on a walk or something like that, it doesn't tend to be over $300, which means you're not actually going to be able to use your insurance. So I always recommend a $0 excess. So as soon as you pay that consult fee, you get to start claiming. And that there just means you're going to get the most out of your insurance. However, it does mean that your monthly costs are increased. Now, another thing with insurance is depending on who you go with, some insurances will increase the price each year just because your dog is a year older, and they can really catch you out this way. I've recently moved my dogs onto an insurance company that doesn't do this because my previous insurance company, from the first year, it was about $55 per month per dog. By the time they reached 3, it was $120 per month. And that was simply just because of their age. And that was ridiculous to me. So I've moved them onto an insurance that doesn't increase their monthly costs just because of the age of your dog, which is really good. Obviously, the price is still going to go up depending on premiums and how much I claim, but at least we don't have that extra factor of simply the dog getting a year older. So my insurance per month per dog is now $112 a month. And I think it's a really, really great insurance. I get to claim 90% back on all of my costs. So I think it's a really good option. And if you get the insurances that are $55 a month when you have a puppy, usually, again, by the time they reach 3, you're up past $100 a month anyway. And this insurance does offer more. And for Cavoodles in particular, it does also cover behavior. So if you ever have a Cavoodle that is suffering anxiety and you need anxiety medication, it will cover that. If someone is listening to this and they're going, oh my gosh, Tiana, can you just tell us the name of the insurance? Send me an email, hello@oodleway.co, and I'll share it with you. I'm just not going to say it on here because insurance, picking who you want to go with insurance is a very personal opinion. It depends on how much you can afford. Obviously, if you can't afford a $0 excess and you have to do the $200 excess, that is better than nothing. There are so many factors involved, and I don't want to go saying on here who I'm using and trying to tell someone it's better than another one. So send me an email if you really want to know. Otherwise, just do your research, and if you can, try and go for the one that's a $0 excess and one that doesn't increase their monthly cost based on the age of your dog. Okay, moving on. We are going on to parasite control. Now, parasite control to me is an essential. There are no questions about it. Your Cavoodle needs to be on parasite control. Here in Australia, we have paralysis ticks, which can kill and will kill your dog if they get one. And these paralysis ticks exist all over Australia, and there are so many. I don't think people really realize just how prevalent paralysis ticks are, but it is a really big problem. They get dropped into your own backyard from possums and from birds and other wildlife. And if your Cavoodle gets a paralysis tick, especially if they're a young puppy, your puppy will be paralyzed very, very quickly, and they get very, very sick and they can die. So parasite control is a must. And for me, parasite control per dog per month is $20 a month. And of course, depends on what brand you do, but this is a very popular brand. It's NexGard Spectra plus Milbamax for the worming. And yeah, that will cover your fleas, ticks, heartworm, and intestinal worms. And it's $20 a month per dog. Next is treats/dental. I thought I would add them together. Obviously, someone can go and have 10 different types of treats and change the treats up every day, which I am definitely one of those people, but you don't have to do that. So I'm just looping together treats and dental hygiene, because you can also give them a dental chew each day to help with their teeth cleaning, and that can also serve as a sort of a long-lasting treat. And this is a very absolute minimum. This doesn't include things like, having liver treats on hand to add into, a rolling Kong or something like that. There's so many more expenses for treats, but this is a bare minimum. A dental chew such as Greenies or Orovet is $50 a month. Or if you wanted to use something more natural like a kangaroo tendon, which can also help clean the teeth, that's also $50 a month. So that's how much I'm averaging, and I would say that you're probably looking at more for your Cavoodle, but this is at a minimum. The final one here that is a reoccurring cost that I've got down is grooming. Now, you've chosen a Cavoodle. Cavoodles have hair grows, and it will continue to grow. So your Cavoodle does need grooming, and they're going to need it every 6 to 8 weeks of their entire life. Now, I'm looking at Cavoodles under 10 kilos. as an average here in Brisbane, it's about $100 per groom every 8 weeks, which is $50 a month. Now, that's obviously a lot of money and it adds up, and you cannot avoid grooming your dog. If you don't groom your Cavoodle and they get matted and that mat goes down to the skin, it actually cuts off blood circulation and becomes very, very dangerous for your Cavoodle. So there is no question about it. Your dog must be groomed every 6 to 8 weeks. The only way you can shave off that cost is obviously by doing it yourself at home. And that is what I do with my Cavoodles. So I groom them all and it saves me at the moment $100 a month. But when I get this third dog, it's going to save me $150 a month, which is a lot of money. I also groom my parents' dogs and they've got 2 dogs and my grandparents' dogs. So I'm saving the family money, which is really good. And you can do it too, because I have created an at-home grooming course. It's all online. You get access to it for life. And I teach you how to groom your dog fully. So from head to tail, I teach you how to groom their body and shape their face into that really adorable teddy bear face. And if you join my course, I know that grooming for the first time, you can have questions. And that's why I've also added in 4 Q&A calls so we can jump online. And if you're having, trouble shaping the face or trimming the feet, I can give you more pointers on that. But that's my course, Oodle Way Home Groom. And it's the only way that you can save money per month, because you can do the grooming yourself from home, which means you don't have to pay a groom out $50 a month for grooming. So if you want to join Oodle Way Home Groom, I would love to see you in there. It's so much easier than you think. I think there is a massive misconception out there that grooming your dog is hard. The hardest part would be desensitizing them and training them to stand still. But if your Cavoodle's already doing that, it's so easy. And it's actually a really enjoyable experience because it's a really nice bonding experience with your dog. Plus you save that money and then you can go spoil yourselves on a coffee and a puppuccino. That's what I say anyway, which I guess defeats the purpose of the fully saving $50 a month. But if you're only saving $40 a month and $10 on coffees and a puppuccino, I think it's a win for everyone. So I'm going to leave the link in my show notes for Oodle Way Home Groom if you're interested. But let's move on. Well, actually, that's the end of my list here. So those are the reoccurring costs per month at an absolute minimum. We have food, insurance, parasite control, dental hygiene / treats, and grooming. And that comes to about $270 per month per dog for a Cavoodle, an adult Cavoodle, which is a scary number now that I am looking at it. Again, if you want to only spend $230 a month, you can do that by grooming yourself from home. But still, we're looking at it at an average $250 a month for your Cavoodle without any extra vet visits, without any extra food or treats or toys or anything like that, which is quite a financial commitment. And I think I don't want to scare anyone through this episode. I just think awareness is key. When you're getting a dog, it's a big commitment for time. You have a 15-year commitment there, but also financially, that's a really big commitment to make as well. Can you afford that $250 a month at a minimum for your dog? And if you can't, it's probably a good sign to hold off on getting that puppy until you can. Because like I said, you can't not feed your dog food. You can't not put them on parasite control. You can't not get your Cavoodle groomed. These are things you must do. It's an essential, and therefore you have to be able to afford it each month. Now, there are other costs that tend to come involved. Like I said, more treats, more toys. If you don't have a backyard, you have to look at something like the toileting situation. Hopefully you've got a grass patch on the balcony or in the house. But that's another added cost. If you go to Bunnings, that's $10 per slab of grass. If you're going through a subscription-based service, it can be $20 a week, which is very expensive. So that's another financial factor to add in. If you are working full-time every single day, your dog's going to need some sort of daycare, some kind of socialization to get them out of the house. And that can be, some daycares on the cheaper side, maybe around $30, $35 a day. Other ones are $50 a day. I've seen ones that are $80 a day. It can really vary depending on the quality of the daycare, what's provided for the dogs in terms of enrichment and play equipment, and the care that they get. So that's another important factor to factor into getting a dog. Another one is pet sitting. If you're wanting to go away for the weekend, a pet sitter, that's an essential cost. If you don't have family or friends who can look after your dog, you'll have to pay a pet sitter. And then there's the other ones such as yearly vaccinations. That's about $120 per year on a vaccination. If you wanted to add it into your monthly cost, it's another $10 per month. And then you've got things like your bed, your lead, your crate, your training, your shampoos, your conditioner, your brushes, all of those more so upfront costs. You don't have to buy a bed and a collar every single month, but you're going to have to buy it when you first get a dog. So essentially, getting a Cavoodle is an expensive investment. You've got to pay for the dog and then you've got to pay for all of this. But I must say, the love and joy you get on return is well worth the money. Anyone who has a dog can tell you that. They are the most beautiful family members. And I mean it when I say family members. I love my dogs like they're my children. And I think you'd find most Cavoodle families say the same thing. They're not just a dog who sleeps and stays outside. They're a dog who sleeps, with you on the couch, on the bed, and honestly, they're just beautiful. So if you're getting a Cavoodle or you're thinking about a Cavoodle and you can make it work financially, it'll be the best decision you ever make. Just obviously make sure you get a puppy from a good breeder so you don't get a puppy who has all of these behavioral issues already, such as anxiety or social anxiety or aggression or overexcitement or anything like that, because that there is going to cost you in training, which behavioralists are about $300 per hour, which is expensive. And we don't want to add that into our monthly cost because 1 hour a month would not be enough. I'll just say that. So that there is the end of this episode. That is how much it costs per month to have a Cavoodle. At a minimum, for an adult Cavoodle, it's $250 per month. And then a puppy is more expensive. And the only way to reduce that cost is if you wanted to increase your excess on insurance, or if you wanted to do the grooming yourself at home, which you absolutely can with my grooming course, Oodle Way Home Groom. And I really encourage you to have a look into it because it's so much easier than you think. And it's going to save you, and I will say this because I've done the maths, across your dog's life, it saves you about $10,000, which is a lot of money. So that's Oodle Way Home Groom. And I'm going to go share this list now with Xander. So he's aware of how much this new puppy is going to cost us. And I'm so excited. It's another financial commitment, but they're so worth it. That's all I can say. They are so, so worth it. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please leave me a rating and a review. I really appreciate it. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I just talk into a microphone and I forget there's people actually listening to this on the other end. I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, when I'm cooking and all of that. So it's hard to believe that there are also people perhaps doing the same thing and listening to me speak. So if that is you, leave me a rating and a review. You click the 3 little dots at the top of your screen and you can click rating and review there, or you can send me a DM on Instagram at OodleWay. Let me know if you're liking it. And I'd really appreciate the feedback because, I want to know people are enjoying this. Okay, I will see you in next week's episode. This has been your Cavoodle coach, Tiana Karamayas. See you later.